right, and we're live, a little bit delayed because of the Cowboy game. We do that every Monday night. Every Monday night, we're going to come on after the game. Usually, it's because I'm at my kid's game. My kid usually plays on Monday nights. And, then we like to wait till after the football game's over for whatever. But tonight, it was just because of the Cowboy game. I'll explain about that later. Hi, everybody. Hi. It's Pugs Moran here, Pugs and Company, Pillow Talk Edition. We do 2 shows a day here at the Radio Misfits Network. We do one show at noon. That's a topic-driven show. We call that High Noon. It's not a stoner thing. It's just more of a Gary Cooper thing, but I can understand why you would think the other way. High Noon, that's 2 hours of just topic-driven. Here's what's trending. Here's what we're talking about. Here's what everybody's talking about. And then we come back again after a, what would that be, like an 8-hour break? Yeah, see, I do math. I'm good at numbers. We come back and we do a Pillow Talk edition where we just sort of be a little bit lighter, a little bit more. Usually 10 o'clock, but as I said, Monday's going to be a little bit weird because, the football game and whatnot. All right, let's bring in my compadres, mi amigo. We got James Parker. Hey, James Parker. Look at him. He's right there. He's right over there. Well, is that loud enough? There you go. And look at high five. High five. There you go.
Yeah, right. I'm doing pretty good, except you left the name tag on the bottom of the screen wrong. We are not Kevin Matthews anymore.
I see that from earlier today. Hold on, let me get rid of that. Where is it? Thank you, James. I appreciate you. I would never have noticed that. I wouldn't have noticed. All right, let's bring in now the wild card in the deck. We call him Sunglasses. Sunglasses joins. Look at him. Oh, look at him representing with his front runner bullshit.
Oh, I love it. Wow, that's nice. Nice shirt.
Yeah, all right. What about me? I'm wearing cowboy colors. I'm just not branded, but I'm wearing.
How the Bears doing?
Shut up. How the Bears doing? There you go. How's Jameis Winston doing down there in New Orleans?
He did good.
He won.
Yeah. They're 2-1.
Florida.
Bears are starting one of 3 quarterbacks. Nick Foles. Andy Dalton.
They'll go back. They'll go back to Dalton probably if he's healthy. But Nick Foles ain't. Nick Foles is never going to see another down.
That's what they're saying. Any of the 3 are in the running.
Yeah, would you catch 5 minutes of some sports channel blurb when I've been listening to nothing but Bears coverage all day long? But no, okay. You heard Scott Van Pelt mention something under his breath in between commercials while you were vacuuming, and now you know.
Just because you're upset because Justin Fields has looked like a rookie.
Woo!
No, shut up. All right, I'm gonna say this once. Shut up. He didn't play well, but that's not the problem. And we're not going to talk about this stuff because honestly, I'll go 90 minutes on this if you want, but I can't imagine that's what anybody wants to hear from me. Not on a Cowboy Victory Monday.
Woo! Just saying. It's not that easy to be good.
You want to shut up about it? You want to stop it? All right, fine. That's it. Guys, here's what we're doing. Next 90 minutes, nothing but my hot takes on the Chicago Bears. Is that what you want? Because it's all Sunglasses' fault. You see Sunglasses there? It's his fault. I wanted to talk about the Cowboys, but no. We'll talk about why Matt Nagy needs to be fired yesterday. We'll talk about why Ryan Pace needs to be fired yesterday. We'll talk about why this team needs to be sold from out from under the decrepit McCaskey-Hallis family and given to an actual billionaire. We got a number of them in the... See, nobody wants to hear 90 minutes of me ranting about my Chicago Bear problems. So don't trigger me.
It's a good point. No one wants to hear that.
Nobody wants to hear that. No. Nobody. Are we drinking tonight?
Yeah. You want to? That's it's a funny question because this cup is about half vodka, half water, and a pack of Emergency.
Ooh, that's nice. That's a hobo screwdriver. That's something you could buy at the bodega liquor store that used to be a 7-Eleven until it got robbed too many times. And now you can purchase your wrap snacks, your plastic vodka, and your, what's that stuff called? Vitamin C packs.
Emergency.
Yeah. You got a lot of those things down in New Orleans, don't you?
Yeah, I'm pretty much a health nut because I put a vitamin in my liquor. So
Hey, you got to do what you got to. What about you? Are you drinking sunglasses? Yeah. What do you got anything going on up there? Or are you just gonna puff on your vape pen?
Yeah, I'm just drinking water.
He's a genius. He decided to become addicted to nicotine in his 50s.
I'm not addicted.
Well, you're
no, that's a good time to do it. You don't want to get addicted in your teens or your 20s. You want to, if you're going to get addicted, do it in your 50s. You're not going to have the long-term build up that leads to all the tumors, growing everywhere. It gives less time for the tumors to hatch,
You know what? That's a pretty good point, don't you think? I mean, I hadn't really considered it like that, but that is a
Yeah,
pretty good point.
it
I
works
mean,
for all drugs and it's on a
yeah.
grade. So, by the time you get to about 50 or so, why not smoke weed? And then as you get to like 70, why not do like coke, and then 80 heroin?
Nah, I think you need to do coke in your 30s. If you're gonna do coke, you need to do it in your 30s because you can't have any real coke fun in
Because
your
that's when you
70s.
did it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like, isn't your heart like weaker when you're older?
We
So
gotta
Coke
stop.
is probably going to create some kind of a heart attack issue.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I would never do cocaine again. Never. I am too horrified by the whole turning Len by. I talked earlier today about how I had a heart injury. And by the way, I want to correct something. I was talking about the injury that I sustained to my heart, and I said it was a myocardial concussion. And that is not the case. I was listening because I listen back to every show, and I was listening back, and I'm like, oh my god, a myocardial concussion means you're dead. That's instant death. A myocardial concussion.
You
I had
didn't
a
have that.
no, no, thank you for noticing. I had a myocardial contusion, which is the lesser of it. It means it's the same thing. It's blunt force trauma to the heart region, except you don't instantly die. If you instantly die, then they term it a concussion, a myocardial concussion. I had a myocardial contusion, which
I
is
missed the story. You almost died of a broken heart. Is that what this is?
nah, it's stupid. I got injured wrestling. It was stupid. I
Okay.
was goofing around. I'm too old to be doing things that I thought, midlife crisis injury. That's really what it was. It's a midlife crisis injury at the hands of a 19-year-old, 280-pound University of Wisconsin wrestler.
Oh, was this like a jiu-jitsu class?
Yes, yeah, it was a dumb.
He was trying to do MMA.
It was
Make his first start.
No, combat wrestling. It was combat wrestling. And the idea was I had done it earlier. I had done it in my 20s and I wrestled as a kid. And I was thinking this would be a great way for me to get back into shape. It almost killed me. So, hey, fatty, you want to get in shape? Wasn't good. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to correct that because I was listening back and I'm like, oh, that sucks. And if anybody knows what I'm talking about, they're like, Dad, you can't survive a myocardial concussion.
Now, how many people were offended and like, what an idiot? He didn't know what a myocardial concussion is. It's got to be like 0.1% of the population.
I'll tell you what.
I'll
tell you what. In the chat room, Dr. Schwartz was in the chat room. He knew.
Oh well, he knows.
Yeah,
there's something that's just endemic to the human condition that if you hear somebody get something wrong, you want to correct them. Now, a lot of us can contain that, but every once in a while, there's these like little just sunbursts of where you have to like. I call it correctersons. Callers do that. If you're like,
yeah, Adam Reyna. Let me throw one out to you. Adam Reyna.
Adam Reyna is one of them.
Yeah, would you not agree? Adam Reyna likes to correct people.
Nah, he's good intentioned though.
Thanks for the help. He's driven you as nuts as he's driven me over the years.
Yeah, like if you just casually said Joe Montana had 3 Super Bowls, the comment section would fill up almost immediately with people saying, "Idiot, he had 4."
Yeah. How many did he have? I don't even know for sure.
He had 4, right?
Did he? I don't know.
I don't know.
Hey,
Charles Haley had 5.
How many is this? How many is this Cowboys team gonna win? Not getting out of the divisional round of the playoffs since the mid '90s. How excited are you? Not you, E. James is the only real Cowboy fan here. Let's be honest.
Okay, it is impossible. It's impossible to just let it go and get excited. Your heart's been hurt too many times, and like you haven't even gotten close. We hadn't even been to an NFC Championship game since 1995.
When they looked at the schedule, though, it looked pretty soft. I mean, you had a couple teams that are 3-0 that you're going to play. Carolina next week, and then Denver. But then most of the other teams on the schedule look like they were 1-2.
Well, it looks like here's the most obvious thing to me. It looks like they're going to easily win the division. Unless Washington gets something put together, and Ron Rivera is a good coach, and he's always got a really good defense. But they got blown out by the Bills last Sunday. I don't know that they look necessarily like a threat. Cowboys had like 19 first downs midway through the second quarter. I mean, you want to talk about moving the ball? Dak looks great. Dak is my favorite thing about the Dallas Cowboys. I love that guy so much. He just seems like such a tremendous guy, such big character, strong character, good, like the kind of guy that you want to be your leader. He doesn't have any of that Des Bryant bullshit in him. You know what I mean? He's like a leader. He's like a good guy that the rest of the team could follow, and he seems to really come up big whenever. And I think he's the most underrated quarterback in the NFL, and I've been saying that for 2 years. The year before he got hurt, when he was throwing for 500 yards a game. The problem was, though, defense sucked. You guys were Cowboy fans, you had to sit there and watch them give up 30 points a game and then lose 28-30 or, something like that, some bullshit, awful heartbreaker like that. This defense looks good. This defense looks better. All right, E, let me ask you, does the Cowboys defense look markedly better, or do the Eagles just like they have terrible offense?
No, I think the Cowboys defense looks markedly better.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out about Micah Parsons. He went down late in the game, and that's a really big deal for this defense. If he's down, hopefully he'll be all right. He walked off the field. That was good. James, what about you? Defense better, or Eagles just suck on offense?
It's a little bit of both. Jalen Hurts really looks good, but he doesn't have a whole lot around him.
Did you think he looked good? I mean, I think he looked like he was getting chased around. He looked like he didn't.
Yeah, for what he was given, I thought he actually put together a pretty amazing game. He got chased around every game. I mean, every pass was a scramble. There wasn't no 5-step drop, and you get to check down to the third read. I mean, how rare was that?
He was making plays outside of the pocket, especially when he was rolling, and he seemed to have an ability to throw. I mean, he tucked it and he ran and slid a couple of times. But here's the problem that he was at, because I thought he was looking all right, at least halfway through the game. Everybody was dropping his passes. He was throwing passes that were catchable balls. I mean, that number one pick they had, isn't that kid from Alabama? Isn't that Devontae Smith? Or is it wait, no,
yeah.
Devontae Adams, Devonta Smith, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
Devonta.
Yeah. Devonta Smith. That dude, he's got to fight for those passes. He's supposed to be one of the best young receivers in football, certainly one of the most hyped to come out of college in a long time. He's like not even going for 50-50 balls. He's getting them swatted away. Again, though, I don't know if that was just where the ball was being placed, whether that was Hurts, whether that was Smith, or whether it was just the defense. Defense was playing some other ball. They look great.
Yeah. Well, they played well against Tampa Bay and lost in the last minute. They beat the Chargers, and they spanked the Eagles. So I think if you look at the two teams prior to the Eagles, they got a decent defense.
Yeah. So who they got next week? They got Carolina. Carolina's 3-0, right?
Carolina is 3-0.
All right. Well, Cowboys, for all intents and purposes, could be 3-0 themselves.
Well, if you don't give the ball to Tom Brady.
Yeah, if Tom Brady had never been born.
Yeah, it's like a walk-off field goal, basically. It's the only thing that's separating them from 3-0.
All right. So any other Cowboy coverage? Anything else you want to get into about the game? Experience? E, are you falling asleep on us there? You look more chill than usual. And I know that you don't do the boogie weed anymore. So
no, it may be my shades look like my eyes are a little bit closed.
Sunglasses, yeah, they do. You look like you were sleeping. I was like, are
you not excited about the Buffalo Bills?
Oh, I'm excited about the Bills. It's just, we got a long season in front of us, so got to keep it rolling.
Yeah. Every time Dak gets touched, I worry that he's going to get hurt again. That's the only thing that really concerns me about the Cowboys, is that we know what happens when Dak is out of there. And suddenly, who's the backup? They had the backup out there. What was that? What's the guy's name? They got rid of Gilbert Gottfried, but who's the guy they got now?
Yeah, they got rid of Danucci too. Was it
Yeah,
Cooper
Ben
Rush?
DiNucci. Cooper
Yeah.
Rush. That's
Yes.
who he is.
Yeah, he was out there for until the last series, and then they put the number ones back out there to take a knee and do the
Victory formation.
victory formation.
Yeah, they did that, but they also did the old Dallas Shuffle. They called it the flex on the Monday night game. But
No, they got the reset, right?
yeah, that's where that was the coolest thing, man. Orland Park Pioneer football back in the late 70s. We used to do the Dallas Shuffle, the offensive lineman. That's where, down, you get down like that and then set. And before you put your hands down in the 3-point stance, you stand straight up and then go back down. And man, the Cowboys used to do that in the 70s. That was just one of the things that led to the Cowboys back then being so glamorous, so interesting. That was like such a showboat move. Nobody else in the NFL ever did that. And I don't think anybody else has done it since until I saw it again tonight. It's probably been 45 years since they've done what we used to call the Dallas Shuffle.
Well, here's what we all like about that. It's showboating from who? The offensive lineman. They never get the showboat. Never.
That is right.
There's never a touchdown dance for your left guard.
That's why we loved it.
One moment to shine. The one time.
But I remember back in the Pee Wee leagues back in the late 70s, a lot of the teams did it. It was just something that looked cool.
You had to do it. You had to do it. But we did in middle school, like once a game.
And I don't know why they ever got away from it. And then when you consider, who their coach was, actually, I guess that whole team was a bit showy for Tom Landry. I mean, Tom Landry, when you think of the way he carried himself and the way that he would probably want his players to behave, you wouldn't think that would be something he'd be for, but that was what the Landry Cowboys did. So he must have been all right with that. By the way, what was Tom Landry? E, do you know? Was he an offensive coach or a defensive coach? Or back then, did it not matter? Because I think he was a defensive back as a pro player.
I don't remember him being anything but the head coach.
Yeah, but like today, every head coach has, the area that they came from. I'm wondering if that's a good question. You know what? I'm going to find out here. Let's find out what Tom Landry played in the pros. I know he was a New York Giant. This is why we have Google, right? We don't have to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, he played for the Giants. He was also
what position did Tom Landry play for the New York Giants?
Let's see.
Defensive back. Yeah, he was a cornerback. That's what I thought.
Wow. How many? Man, was that you that was telling me for the first time since like 2004 there's a white corner?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was for the Cardinals or maybe not some team like that I don't care about. Like the Cardinals or Chargers or somebody like that. Okay, here, wait. So let's pull up Tom Landry's playing career. Let's see.
Did he do punting?
Who?
Did he do punting as well? I have stats on him here as punting.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the white guy corner in the NFL this year.
Yeah, he's probably not punting, but Tom Landry has statistics from 1949 to 1955 punting for the Giants.
Landry was selected in the 19th round, 128th overall of the 1948 AAFC draft. He played one season in the All-American Football Conference for the New York Yankees. Well, there's an original name for a football team. Then moved in 1950 across town to the Giants. Landry was also selected by the New York Giants in the 20th round in the 1947 draft.
Yeah, so he was a defensive back. He had 32 interceptions in only 80 games. He returned them for 3 touchdowns, 3 pick sixes.
Man, check this out. He got his coaching career started in 1954 with the Giants as the defensive coordinator for the Giants. You know what the Giants' offensive coordinator was? Vince Lombardi.
Wow.
Those are two pretty good young coaches to have back there.
How'd they do that year?
Landry led one of the best defensive teams in the league from 56 to 59. The two coaches created a fanatical loyalty within the unit and then drove the Giants to 3 appearances in the NFL championship games in 4 years. Lost to the call. In 1960, he became the first head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, a position he held for 20. Okay, so he came from a defensive side. He was a defensive coach.
Who was that team they beat to win the championship? Who was that?
That was the Patty Driscoll led Chicago Bears.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Is that what we're getting at? That's okay.
I missed
That's
that part.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're fine. We're fine. We beat them a couple of times. We won a bunch of titles. No team in the NFL has more championships than the Chicago Bears. So shut up. Yeah, most of them happened before 1940, but that doesn't matter. We still count them, and we still have the banners hanging. So you know what? Screw off. Yes, we only have one in the Super Bowl era, but there are teams that don't have any in the Super Bowl era.
Yeah, we're running out of those teams.
Just can you feel my eyes on you there, sunglasses? Minnesota, Buffalo. Yeah, Minnesota doesn't have one. Buffalo doesn't have one. I don't think
Yeah,
the Chargers have.
Houston Texans don't have one. Jacksonville Jaguars don't have one. Carolina Panthers don't have.
No. Jacksonville, Carolina, Houston. You gotta give them time. Those teams are like 20 years old. Those teams haven't been around. Tennessee. Yeah, okay. Tennessee's been around because they're the Oilers, right? We consider them the Oilers.
Yes, they're the Oilers, and they don't have one. Here's one of the old school teams. Lions. Lions don't have one. Falcons don't have one. They just lost that one to Brady.
No, but the Lions have an NFL championship in like a couple of years before the Super Bowl era came in. They had Bobby Lane. They had a good team.
That don't count. That don't count.
I know it don't count. But if the game isn't to be held, and we're talking about who won the season, they won the season once. I think. I don't know. Let's find out. I think they did.
Who? Yeah. The Lions never got a Super Bowl.
No, but a championship. Dude, you can't win a Super Bowl if there was no Super Bowl to be played. All you can do is
I
win.
think they do have a championship. I think they do. Cleveland's
Detroit
never won a
Lions,
Super Bowl.
NFL champions. Okay, this is gonna just returned a big guy holding up his middle finger. Detroit Lions, American professional gridiron football team based in Detroit. The Lions play in they got a bunch. They won 4, 35, 52, 53, and 57. All right, so like 13 years before the Super Bowl era.
Dang.
When did the Super Bowl era start? 69 or 70?
Like 67.
Oh, it's that early?
Isn't that right, E?
I think it might be a little before that even.
Okay. That's what we have Google. When was the first Super Bowl played? Okay, I'm pretty sure that the first Super Bowl wasn't between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's wrong.
That was the last one.
Oh, that was the last one. Although I think maybe the Kansas City Chiefs were in the first one. Yeah, and they were, and they lost. The very first Super Bowl was played. What day here? Come on, Wikipedia, help me out. Green Bay Packers defeated the Kansas City Chiefs 35-10 on January 15th. What year? What year you say, E?
I say 65.
What year you say, Parker?
January is 68.
I'm going to go with January of 67, and I'd be right because I'm looking at it. It was 67. Yeah. There you
okay.
Go.
Well, I said 67, but I meant the 67 season, so I was kind of wrong. But close. So Cleveland doesn't have one. Cincinnati doesn't have one.
Cleveland doesn't have one, but Cleveland's another one of those teams that has all kinds of banners because they used to back in the Jim Brown days.
Don't count.
What?
I said it doesn't count. It does not count.
Well, okay. You're right. They don't have a Super Bowl. And you're right. I'll give them credit. You know what? I see what you're saying now.
We've had like 50 of these now. Everyone's number should have come up. And if it hadn't come up, it's because you suck.
The only asterisk that I would put is next to teams that haven't been in existence the entire duration of the Super Bowl era.
All right. So wouldn't your worst offender then be the Cardinals because they've been around since day one and don't
Cardinals
have
are the oldest team in the NFL.
Do they have a championship of anything? No. Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals.
It had to be like in 1924 or something like that when they were in Chicago, right?
Chicago Cardinals won some stuff. I think it is as recently as the 1950s, but they've been really inept. Hold on. Chicago Cardinals NFL champions. All right, now we'll see. We'll see what this is. All right. The Cardinals won the second NFL championship in team history. Oh, so they got 2 against the Philadelphia Eagles, 1947
Dang.
and 1925. So, yeah, the Cardinals are the oldest team in the NFL. And you want to know why? You ever heard the story?
No.
They were in Canton, Ohio, where the league was formed. And the league was formed by George Halas, who owned the Chicago Bears and ran the Chicago Bears. His crosstown rival were the Chicago Cardinals, and he absolutely hated them. And to show that he could get along with them in the new league, when the charter was put down on the table, George Halas had the pen in his hand, and he offered it to his crosstown rival, the Chicago Cardinals. They signed the NFL charter first. Chicago Bears signed it next. Green Bay Packers signed it after that, and that's how the Cardinals became the oldest team in the NFL, even though it's only by a second. Fun fact.
Okay.
I'm full of them. Yeah, I
That's
mean,
wild.
it's well, and you know where they did it? They did it in a Canton, Ohio car dealership. And that, my friend, is today where the Pro Football Hall of Fame is located.
Chargers haven't won one.
No, but they've been there.
Yeah.
I guess that doesn't count. That doesn't matter because the Bills have been there 3 times in a row. And
sir.
Oh, don't mess with the great humiliation. I'm sorry, you're right. 4 in a row. 4 in a row. God, that's gotta hurt. But also, wasn't the Minnesota Vikings? Didn't they go like 4 times in a row?
Not in a row, but 4
No.
times pretty
They've
quick.
lost 4 times as well.
But 4 times, and all in the span of the 70s, right? So maybe it wasn't all in a row, but it was pretty painful.
Denver's lost 4, but they've won a couple.
I mean, just think, I get they lost, but think of the fact that they went 4 years in a row. Like, I don't think anybody will ever go 4 years in a row. That's tough to do.
Yeah.
Even though you lose, it's still tough to do.
Is that how you sleep at night? Is that the
well, I mean, I think back to that team and just every year reloading to only then get, beat in the Super Bowl. It was pretty spectacular.
And, honestly, I rooted for the Buffalo Bills every single time they lost. So if it wasn't for the fact that, he's now my football arch nemesis, I would probably be right there with him as a Buffalo Bill fan today. Because back then, I loved Jim Kelly. I loved Thurman Thomas. Come on, man. I loved everything about that team. Those were fun teams. Jim Kelly Marv Levy was awesome. He was like 90 years old back then. Isn't that dude still alive? Is it Marv?
He is. He is still alive.
Is he over 100?
No.
He's not? Boy. I got to meet Marv Levy a couple of times because he was very big in
He's Clint Eastwood old.
Yeah. He's like, that's what this is what we do on the show, folks. We just Google shit. How old is Marv Levy? It came up. What is 96? He's 96 years old. Yeah. But that's weird because that would mean that in 2001,
he's actually 5 years older than Clint Eastwood.
Right.
He was not nearly as old as I thought he was. He was only in his mid 60s when he was, playing in Super Bowls back in the 90s, coaching the Bills to AFC legendary status. I thought I would have bet that he was like in his mid 70s, late 70s back in 1990.
What is Jim Kelly doing right now?
Surviving cancer, and he runs a beautiful cancer charity for children. Yeah, I don't know.
Like a car dealership or a chain of Schlotzky's?
No, he's had a really tough go with cancer.
Yeah.
Several times it's gone, come back. He's fought it off, lost half his jaw. I mean, in terms of mental toughness, and a guy that's, been able to just kind of rebound and keep it going. And then he lost his kid. I mean, he's had quite the tough life.
Didn't he lose his kid to cancer?
Was
it an accident?
Some kind of childhood disease.
Him
and Boomer Esiason had similar stories.
Yeah. Boomer's kid had some disease. Yeah, I don't look at it. It's too terrible to even think about. But Jim Kelly, the reason I became a Buffalo Bills fan because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I'm the world's foremost authority on the USFL, even though I forgot everything about the USFL. I forgot it. But in the moment when I was 12 years old, I decided that I was going to learn everything there was to know about this new league because I felt, hey, here's an opportunity for me to be an expert at something. This is brand new.
Get in on the ground floor, right?
Get in on the ground
Joe Rogan with UFC, right?
And he was a gunslinger, man. Jim Kelly was one of the big name college quarterbacks who got scooped up by the USFL. He played for San Antonio, and he was an exciting player to watch. So when he finally went up to, well, I mean, he probably watched his entire pro career, so I don't have to tell him. He knows what the gunslinger thing is, just so perfect for him. He used to, did he run with the Bills? I don't remember him being a big boot guy, but in the USFL, they were basically running the old 1978 Oklahoma pitch option offense.
Yeah, he didn't have to run much. He had Thurman Thomas to do that.
Yeah, but did he have wheels? I mean, was he a mobile quarterback? I don't remember.
He could, if he got chased out of the pocket, he could move. But I wouldn't have called him. I mean, he wasn't like today's scrambler.
He wasn't a running quarterback.
Right. Well, he was a scrambler in the era where we thought Fran Tarkington,
right, exactly.
the best wheels.
Until Randall Cunningham came around.
Right. Yeah. A big fat white dopey guy was the guy who had the crazy wheels for a quarterback. Even though today he'd probably be, I don't know who's the guy? Who's the Cowboys second string guy? Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush.
Yeah, I don't know. He's probably like of that kind.
Says the feed on Facebook is not there.
Yeah, I see that, and I can tell that too. That's why we have not quite.
So what's going on? How's that happen?
I don't know. I got a text earlier today from Ed, actually a couple hours ago, saying that we were all set for the night show, and now we got a bit of an issue. Oh, wait, Ed just.
So turn on your Facebook button.
Hold on. Let's do this. He hates when I do this, but let's do it anyway. Let me. Okay. We'll see if we can get Ed to answer. Ed is our tech genius. James, just a little heads up.
Hi, this is Ed Stilla, and you've reached my voicemail. Sorry, I missed your call. If you
No,
leave
you're
a
not.
message, I'll get
You
back to
texted
you
me
as
like 10
soon as I
minutes
can.
ago.
So did you hear? Oh, are you gonna leave a message?
Nah. Nah.
So in the Gabby Petito, they had a rancher on from Florida.
Yeah.
Today, and I was watching him, and he said, in his opinion, there is no way that Brian is alive if he's in the Carlton Reserve. As being a rancher, somebody that's been there for a while, he said that 95% of the 25,000 acres are underwater, and your ability to survive in those conditions with the snakes and with the alligators, he says is about zero. And the fact that they've not seen any buzzards, every time that he sees something in the Carlton Reserve that's dead, generally the buzzards will be up and flying around.
Okay.
He also said,
indicator.
Yeah, he also said something about the alligators. The alligators aren't like alligators that we see, like that take people down at Disney where they chase after them because they're hungry and they don't have any food. He said these alligators in the Carlton Reserve have quite a lot of a food supply. And when he loses a hog or a steer, because I guess he has those evidently on his ranch, that most of the time what will happen is the alligator will come in and it'll take the animal down underneath the water and submerge it and let it be down under the water for like about 10 to 15 days before they'll actually proceed to eating it, because they kind of let it rot. And so he doesn't think that there's any chance that Brian is in the reserve. And he says that he thinks that they would have found him by now because of all the night vision and stuff that they've used to be able to look at the bodies of water to find a person. So I thought that was quite interesting.
Man, nature is awful.
Deranged. Half of nature is designed to kill you.
Yeah, I saw it, just because if you hear somebody say one thing, there's going to be somebody on another channel saying another thing. I heard just the opposite, that they were referencing Eric Rudolph, who was the Olympic Park bomber who survived on the run in the woods in North Carolina for 5 years, even though they think that there were churches that were helping it. You remember Eric Rudolph, right, James? The guy,
the Atlanta Olympics.
Yeah, Atlanta Olympics, but more than that, he was wanted because he blew up a bunch of abortion clinics and, that whole thing. He was one of these holy warrior guys. And I saw a guy today, they were talking about how they were making the correlations between Eric Rudolph and how, well, he could be surviving, but nobody's got a difference. And then he's like, yeah, but, he had, we assume, church groups coming out there helping him who were complicit in his surviving in the woods for 5 years. And when he was arrested by the FBI, he had clean shoes and he had been clean shaven and he, clean clothes. So that ain't nobody helping Brian Laundrie, with his laundry.
Well, I think he's headed to the Appalachian Trail if he's alive.
That's so dumb. That's so dumb. You got to go.
But where else can he go?
Mexico.
Yeah.
Listen, look, they are not reporting on this case nearly as much in Spanish language media as they are in English language media. Okay, Univision,
or just an assumption?
No. What do I've had to watch a lot of Univision and Telemundo.
Yeah, I can't imagine they care about a pretty blonde girl. I can't imagine that's being.
I just think his way out of Florida is so long. Because if you're down there and you got to go out and up and around, I mean, the likelihood that you're going to make it out of there. But
he had a 4-day head start. Plenty of time. That's plenty of time. He made it. If that's where he's going, he made it.
I'm looking for something here. I found something I wanted to share.
They also said there are two $30,000 or totaling $30,000 rewards now. So the reward money has started to climb up there. That may shake a few people.
Yeah. Is there anything on the parents today?
Nothing that I could find today.
No.
Nope.
The only piece of news that I saw today, and we'll play that, is the dispatcher recording was released by whatever county Moab.
Yeah, we've already heard this one.
No, we haven't. It was released today. It was released this afternoon. It's the first time.
Same thing though.
No. What you heard was the 911 call. The question was, why did the police, after we heard the 911 caller tell the dispatcher that the man was hitting the woman, why then didn't the police react that way when they made the traffic stop? And we were asking, did the dispatcher not give that information to the police? Did the police, because we were blaming the dispatcher. We were talking about but that answer has now been here. I'll play it for us all so we can listen to it.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, no, this was released this afternoon about 3:00. So, nope, don't need that. Here we go. Yeah, hold on a second. So let's hear. I guess the question that we're listening for is, did the dispatcher give the proper information to the police so that the police were aware when they pulled over the white van that this was a case of a guy beating up his girlfriend? Because that's what we clearly heard the 911, the eyewitness caller, say. So here it is. Here's the dispatch.
CPA, do you have
Start it over. Here we go.
CPA? CPA, do you have a phone number for the RP? Maybe you're still landline and a location where our victim's at? Phone number is name's. I'm not sure that, but the female who got hit, they both, the male and the female.
Okay, so there we go. We hear right there the dispatcher clearly told the police officers who then pulled over Brian and Gabby in the white van. The police officers were clearly told by the dispatcher that Brian was hitting Gabby, that the guy was hitting the girl, that's what the eyewitness saw, and that's why the police are responding. Now, the police, the Moab police, Beardy McBeard, who I had a bit of a man crush on for a while, he seems to have just completely disregarded that fact.
Both got, I'm not sure that, but the female who got hit, they both, the male and the female, both got into the van and headed north. Continuing attempt to locate, time lapse of about probably 40 seconds. RP states a male hit a female domestic. He got into a white Ford Transit van, has a black ladder on the back, Florida plate of. The van turned right onto Main Street from Moonflower Market and headed north onto Main Street, 1638.
All right, so there you have it. So any of us that wanted to go and blame the 911 dispatcher, because I know I was blaming. It sounded to me when he was taking the eyewitness 911 call that he was just like, well, okay, whatever. He seemed like he really didn't give a crap, because let's be honest, he's the 911 dispatcher in Moab, Utah. He probably doesn't have a whole lot of stuff on it. So he's probably making coffee or lunch or something, and he had to walk across the room to answer the call. And we wondered openly, did the police have that information? Because it was clear that the eyewitness said it was a guy hitting and slapping the girl. And then when the cops pulled him over, the cops were like, oh, okay, well, the guy's obviously the victim. So that's, again, there is nothing about this case. There's nothing that's going to come out short of Brian being found dead or alive that is really going to be worth us spending a whole lot of time on, unless they put the parents in handcuffs. I guess that's another one that, would be to some degree satisfying. But, at least now we have answers. It was the Moab police. Oh, and by the way, the police officers involved in that pullover have all been given desk jobs. They've been taken off the street, which, now think about that. How many cops do they have in Moab that they can, just bench two of them? They probably
administrative leave, huh?
Yeah, they probably only got like 3. I mean, that's not a big town. How big of a town is Moab, Utah? Do we know? I mean, it seems like a very small desert town, right?
Yeah, Moab's population is 5,000.
5,300.
5,300, yeah.
Yeah, all right. All right, well, that's that. What else do we have? Oh, you know what I wanted to talk to you guys about?
R. Kelly?
No, you want to do a little R. Kelly hunk? You got some R. Kelly hot takes? That's another one.
He's guilty on all counts of sex trafficking and then racketeering.
Yeah, that's the new one today, racketeering.
What? I mean, I guess this is kind of a Gambino crime family like type operation, but I don't know. That just sounds like you're giving him too much credit. But
what is racketeering? Do you know off the top of your head? Because I always confuse it in these cases. Like, this sounds like
when you're running a racket, it really is that easy. When you're running a racket,
right? But what was the racket that he's being accused of running? Was he selling like
sex trafficking?
Yeah,
is that it? Okay.
Yeah, so when you have some guys that talk some underage girls into coming to air quotes hang out at the house, and then they don't air quotes let them leave, and you have other people participating with you in your attempt to do whatever you're going to do to this young lady, and these guys are like watching the door for you and covering for you,
implementing Rick's rules. That's what they were referred to.
Well, who was Rick?
R. Kelly.
Oh, well, his name's Robert.
Well, they call it, or maybe it was Robert's rules. I'm sorry, but they implementing his rules.
Robert's rules. I get that? It makes more sense.
I get it. That's not bad. It's not bad.
It's good. Yeah.
Catchy. Yeah, but we all knew this guy has been guilty this entire time. The only funky part about it is he's been to court so many other times and hasn't really had the hammer come down on him.
Well, it's coming down now.
He's in jail, right?
He'll be spending, I would bet, 20 to 30 plus. I mean, as many women have come out against him, and just the way that the details have kind of unfolded, and people were saying that when they were at his house, they were not allowed to leave their room for just normal food and beverage. They had to ask. And supposedly he said it was because he'd want to record it all hours of the night. And so he didn't want girls rummaging around the house, without him knowing where they were and asking permission to leave the room because they'd interrupt his recording session. When we all know it's other things than that. So.
You ever miss the good old days when this whole story was just about him pissing on people? I mean, that was just a weird sort of thing. I'd never assumed that it would get this weird. That now you got kidnapping, multiple rapes, pedophilia, child pornography. We're going to throw on a little racketeering. I'm sure there's some conspiracy charges in there if you paid anybody to not say anything about it. I mean, there's probably he's been in prison, right? I mean, he's not out on bond or anything. I mean,
no, he's not out now.
Well, I think the child porn things are because he filmed himself having sex with underage girls.
Yeah, that would be, yeah.
I mean, that's really getting yourself in deep.
that's first of all, that's child rape, child molestation, and then because he videotaped it and kept it, that is creation, and I don't know if you could say distribution. If he shared it with anybody, that's a whole nother charge. But it's
Okay, so
production of child pornography for sure.
but we all had our first red flags go up for this guy in like what was it, 1998, when he married Aaliyah, who was 15 years old at the time. And I
No,
remember we all just said, "What the heck is that all about?"
age ain't nothing but a number. He even made an album about it. Nobody
Well,
see.
but then
Well,
she
maybe
died
where
in
you're
the
from.
plane crash,
Yeah,
so that
they,
kind of got rid of that.
yeah, but they were broken up by then. They were no longer together, and she had her own career. But this James, I'm going to push back on your whole theory that we all raised an eyebrow at that. No, we didn't. That was totally fine. I mean, yeah, it was weird. Today, in retrospect, we look back, and it probably wouldn't fly today. You know, if
Look, I imagine. Look, it's weird the overlaps that happened because Elvis did it. How
yeah,
old was Priscilla when Elvis married her? When
Priscilla, he met Priscilla. She was 16 years old. They were in an army base in Germany. It was when he was in the army,
I
and
think he met her when she was 14.
maybe, yeah, maybe I thought it was 16. You know what?
Didn't Jerry Lee Lewis do it?
Yeah,
Yes,
with Myra.
sir.
Myra.
Yes, sir.
She was not only like 13 years old, she was his cousin. she was that's incest and pedophilia. He married, yeah, Myra Lee Lewis.
Yeah.
All right. So, how old was Priscilla Presley?
There you go. Let's find out. Let's find out who the biggest sicko is in rock and roll history. Hey, I just watched a Rick James documentary a couple weeks ago, and you know what? We can have a conversation about him because he was pretty crazy himself.
Well, now, what is the deal with that? Okay, Elvis Presley met Priscilla when he was 24 and she was 14.
10-year age difference. That's a big age difference. It's not a big age difference if it's 44 and 34, but when it's 24 and 14, that's a massive age difference.
Okay. So yeah, they met in 1959 and then they married in what? Let's see. Hang on, flipping around. And then they married in
And how old was she?
She was 14
14
when they met in 1959.
Yeah. And then he like
And he married her in 67 when she was like 22 or something. So
no, well, he started sleeping with, he claimed the legend goes that he didn't even hold her hand until she turned 18 years old. But you know that's BS. Actually, I think Priscilla has herself come out in the last 20 years or so and gone, yeah, we were doing it when I was 14. We were doing it. You can't.
wow.
But wait a second. I will see your Priscilla Presley at 14 years old, and I will raise you Myra Lewis Williams, who married Jerry Lee Lewis when her cousin, right, who was 13, only 13 years old,
Oh,
and they got
bars.
married.
Oh, they still look like girls, man. Okay, so what cousin? Is it first cousin? Is it eighth cousin? Because that counts for something, right?
Does it really,
I
James?
think the fact that it's just a cousin is a disqualifier.
Yeah. Hey, James, your East Texas roots are showing with a question like that.
Well, first cousin's gross, but I mean third cousin, you only really see them at like funerals and stuff.
Let's see here. Myra Lewis Williams is an American author best known for her controversial marriage at the age of 13 to rock and roll musician Jerry Lee Lewis, who is her, are you ready for this? First cousin.
First
cousin. First cousin.
No, I shouldn't have asked.
13-year-old first cousin. Jerry Lee. Jerry Lee may even be beating R. Kelly here. This is, if you just want to go with the ookie factor, that's just Hey,
He's
you know
worse.
who his other first cousins were though? Check this out. This is what a crazy family this is.
Nancy Sinatra.
No, come on.
I'm just throwing stuff out there. I don't know.
No, Jerry Lee Lewis had two best friends growing up. They were his first cousins. Their dads were all brothers or something like that. No, probably not. Probably moms, because they don't have the same last names. So, his first cousins who were his best friends, you had Jerry Lee Lewis, Jimmy Swaggart, Jimmy Swaggart.
What?
I have
Jimmy
sinned
Swaggart.
against you. Yeah, Jimmy Swaggart, that hunk of garbage.
Get through loves me some hookers.
And then their other one was Mickey Gilley. Looking for love and all. Yeah. Mickey Gilley, Jimmy Swaggart, and Jerry Lee Lewis were all first cousins, and they had another first cousin, and Jerry married her. So that's some tight Southern family.
Hmm.
My cousins are ugly.
Yeah, really.
I don't have to worry about that.
The only first cousins I have are like 15 years younger than me. So, it was never really an option. It was never, and one of them's adopted. So
You say that.
What do you mean I say that? Actually,
Well, I mean, for you, thank God it wasn't an option, but other people, just because they're 15 years younger, I mean, in Elvis's case,
actually, now that I think about it, my first cousins are actually more like 30 years younger. I was like, what was I saying? 15? Because they were little kids my whole life, bro. I was married when they were born. So yeah. So I never had that option. Although I had a bunch of second and third cousins. They don't really count though. E, you ever have any hookups with your cousins? You come from a big Italian East Coast family? No. No.
I don't know. We didn't even get along with that other half of the family. They were gone so early in my childhood. I don't even remember them.
James?
What?
Any cousin love? Not love, but any cousins that you thought were hot or anything like that?
Man, I don't know. I have a cousin who, in our dinky little hometown of Bug Tussle nowhere, was like the homecoming queen. Like 7 years after I graduated, but she looks like my aunt, and she kind of looks like my dad.
Yeah,
so,
right.
no.
I can't. I don't know how that works. Like, all right. Let's see here though. She was. Now I want to know like what other rock stars have done these like crazy. Well, maybe that's a conversation for another day.
You are not going to beat 13 years old, and if you are, then I'm going to leave because I'm going to throw up.
I don't think you can. Yeah, I don't think you can. Although I was talking about Rick James. Rick James had, he used to buy prostitutes, and then he would just trap them in his house and like chain them to things and then burn them with crack pipes. Like he'd let the hour run out on the meter and then he'd just keep them. Yeah.
All right. Didn't Charlie Chaplin do some underage stuff too?
Charlie Chaplin?
Yeah. That's ringing a bell in my
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But you know what? Why don't we just ask Google? So how should I phrase this? Celebrities who dated children. I mean, we'll see how.
Woody Allen.
All right. Hey, I was reading up on Priscilla Presley's Wikipedia
celebrities
page.
who dated children.
Look, she met him when they were 14. They didn't get to really hang out, like alone until the summer of 1962. So she's like 17.
Mm-hmm.
And her parents let him go stay with her for 2 weeks. When she's 17.
Let her go stay with him.
Yeah.
So Jerry Seinfeld and Shoshona Lowenstein.
Shut up, she's 18. That's not even we're way past that now.
Jerry Seinfeld was 39 when he began a relationship with the then 17-year-old high school senior. Does that change anything? 18. No, he was almost 40, and she's in
high school.
Yeah, but I'm looking at a picture of her. I mean, I can see why. I mean, she doesn't look like a kid. I'll give you that much.
Well, do you know the rule of thumb on how young is too young?
How young? What is? You know what? What is the rule? I think this is something that I should know. Although
it's just a quick math formula. You take whatever the guy's age is.
Okay.
Divide it in half and add 7, and that's the cutoff.
Okay, so that means that at 51, 25, 26, and then wait. Tell me this again. Tell me how I do it.
Cut it in half and add 7.
33 would be your too young.
So anything under
that's
33?
your cutoff. That's your cutoff. If you're dating like a 34-year-old, you know what? That's cool. If you're dating like a 31-year-old, it's like, what are you doing?
Really? That's what we said. Okay.
Okay, right. So look, try it anywhere. Try it at like age 18. Try it at age 20. Try it at age.
What about with high dollar escorts? Does that count, or can that be just?
There's not a rule for that.
Okay, okay. I'm just making sure.
Well, like if you're paying for it, it's not. You're not marrying her or dating her.
Yeah,
or
because
pretending like you have like an actual relationship with her.
Mm.
So a 60-year-old guy, you cut it in half, he's 30, add 7, 37. A 6-year-old guy could date a
So it always
37-year-old.
comes out about 23.
Well,
No. Look, if
Yeah,
I'm
it's about
20,
a 23-year difference.
no, look, if
every
you're 20,
time.
look, it works downhill too. If you're 20 years old, what's the youngest you can date without it being icky? Cut it in half, 10, add
17.
17. Yeah. Because if you're 20 dating a 16-year-old, it's like,
Yeah, that's wrong. The girl's got to at least be in her senior year. She's got to be within 9 months of her 18th birthday. If you're
Right.
under, but you can't be over 20. You can't be a 21-year-old dating a 17-year-old. That's weird. That's
So
like you're a nerd.
you got to stretch it too. So when you're 30,
Right.
then you cut it in half to 15, add 7, 22. If you're 30 dating a 22-year-old, that is kind of like the cutoff of,
Yeah,
it's
it does. As you like, the numbers are closer. Like 30 dating 20 is weird, but 40 dating 30 isn't quite as weird.
Yes, and it still works out because the cutoff for a 40-year-old would be 27.
27. Okay.
Right? 40, cut it in half,
formula?
20, add 7.
I kind of like this formula. Where did you get this formula from?
I don't know, it's like on the back of a cereal box or something.
Do you still get the date girl? How old are you? You still get the date girls in their 20s?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of married, but see,
You
I'm
know
40,
what I'm saying.
No. You know what? I'm 44, cut it in half, that's 22, add 7, 29. I could date it. That's the cutoff.
All right. That
makes sense. Like me dating a 26-year-old, someone's not taking this very serious.
Actor, all right, is this weird? Actor Wilmer Valderrama, one of the guys that we mentioned when we had the best dating resume dudes. Wilmer Valderrama was 29 years old when he began a relationship with Demi Lovato, who was only 17 years old at the time.
Yeah.
29.
But she was a pop music 17. And isn't
Yeah.
that like a real world 28?
Kind of.
No, it's still
29.
Yeah. All right, tell us, Sunglasses. Come on, jump in here.
I mean, she's still 17.
Yeah, but she's a show business 17. And it's really not the same
She
thing.
took her GED like a year ago. She's basically a college sophomore.
Yeah, now I think she's like she's got to be close. She's got to be in her 30s, right?
Don't tell that to the judge.
No. I just mean a
No.
17-year-old pop star is more like a college sophomore.
Let's see here. Demi Lovato looks good now. You showed a picture of her. She looks better now than she did. I always like that. When you see a girl, she's like 17 years old, and they're like, or 18, 19 pop star. And then as they get older, it's like they get even prettier. I'm going to say
They lose that fat off their
He's
face.
from
That
around
gets so
here,
round and
too.
Sharp.
Wilmer Valderrama?
No, Demi Lovato's from around here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if she's naturally from around here, but there was a time in the mid 2000s when all the Disney teen stars were moving to Texas. The Jonas Brothers lived here, and or maybe she was she one of the you might know this. Was she one of the Barney and Friends kids? Is that where she started? Because maybe she is.
I don't know that. I just remember reading that she was somewhere in, I want to say Grapevine area, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's where the Jonas Brothers were too. They all bought houses in that area. But I don't think I think the Jonas Brothers are from somewhere else. They just all moved here because they were 15-year-olds earning millions of dollars, and it was like
I thought E knew all of the Barney kids.
Well, no. Joel Madden.
By the way, hey, real quick, Demi Lovato was born in Albuquerque. They moved to Dallas pretty soon after that. Her mom is a former Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
There you go. Oh, she's legit. That's legit. As long as she moved here like when she was still really little.
Yeah.
But not for business reasons, which
there was another singer here too. He dated Justin Bieber.
Yeah. What's her name? Gosh, Samantha.
Selena Gomez.
Correct. That was a race.
Demi Lovato was on Barney and Friends.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought that's where she got her start.
Nailed it.
Kobe and Vanessa Bryant. Kobe Bryant was in his 20s. Well, no, you got to give me a specific number. You can't just say in his 20s. When he started dating future wife Vanessa, she was only 17 and a high school senior at the time. You can't tell me in your 20s. She's 17. If he's
20 is fine according to the formula.
He was in the NBA when he was 18 years old. Kobe Bryant. So
Right.
was he 21 dating like this super attractive 17-year-old? All right, let's see. So far, how about Tyga and Kylie Jenner? Here's a new one for you kids out there listening. While Tyga and Kylie Jenner didn't take their relationship public until she was 18, most people speculate that it actually began years before that. The rapper started turning up in the reality star's social media posts when she was about 14 or 15. Okay, Tyga. I don't. It doesn't say how old Tyga is, but 14 or 15.
Is he still with? No, she's moved on.
After this relationship, Kylie began a relationship with musician Travis Scott from 2017 to 2019. The two welcomed a daughter in 2018. Tyga has been spotted with several women since his split with Jenner. However, it doesn't appear that he's currently in a relationship. Man, how old is this Jenner girl? How old is she?
I thought she was dating the guard for the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah,
We're
probably
talking
the
about
other one.
Kylie Jenner.
There's Kendall and Kylie.
Oh,
And
that's Kendall, maybe that's dating the Suns guy.
what is going on with the genes in that family? You know, I tell everybody, only when it's topic appropriate. I mean, I don't just stand on the street corner. But when I sat across the table and interviewed Kim Kardashian, I kept saying to myself, this is the most beautiful woman I've ever sat this close. I mean, she is staggeringly beautiful when you're sitting really close to her and just looking at her. And now I'm looking at her sisters. This Kylie Jenner girl is just fantastically beautiful.
24.
She's 24. Okay, she's hot
I mean,
as
I'm sorry,
hell.
21.
She's fantastically beautiful. You gotta
Wait.
use different.
No, it is 24. I'm sorry.
She's hot as hell then. At 24, she's hot as hell. At 21, she's just a beautiful young lady.
She is.
She's really pretty. And I even think that the other sister, Kendall, is prettier. I think that not that I'm a creepy 50-year-old who's looked at pictures of them side by side and decided which Jenner, but I'm just talking about from the episodes of that show they were on that I've caught from time to time. All right, that's a weird one. Who else do we got here?
And those are Bruce Jenner genes.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I'm telling you, Kris Jenner, her genes are carrying the load here. I mean, that's because Kris Jenner. Have you ever seen pictures of Kris Jenner? Like when Kris Jenner was like, her daughter's age, when she was like a young 20-something.
What did she do to get these two guys? What did she?
Well, she was married to Robert Kardashian, who was a big, important attorney in Los Angeles, and not
OJ's attorney at one point.
Yeah, well, he was an estate guy. He was like a financial attorney. That was his big thing. And he was married to Kris Kardashian, or whatever her real name is. And she was probably just some hot young girl that some big, powerful financial attorney in Hollywood who had a bunch of star clients was dating. And famously, they became best friends with OJ and Nicole Simpson. Kris Jenner's best friend was Nicole Brown Simpson. But the pictures that I've seen from back then of Kris Jenner, I mean, I don't know. I was around back in the late 80s and the early 90s. I knew what hot was back then. She certainly didn't strike me as being in league with the daughters that she's produced, who are just jaw droppers. So, whatever. It all worked out. Hey, how about this one? This is a good one. This is a fun one. This is definitely creepy. Kept the tabloids in business for a couple of years. Doug Hutchinson and Courtney Stodden. Remember this weird coupling?
Yeah. It was that actor who was in like Saving Private Ryan or something like that.
Yeah, I think he was in Prison Break at the time. He was
I think she was 16 when they were on TV and all that good stuff.
She was 16 years old. He was 51 when.
That formula went right out the door. I mean, he could divide it in half and subtract 7 and still not make it.
But I mean, God, I mean, look, I'm looking at. I mean,
that's really like if you can divide it in half and subtract 7 and you still miss the mark,
go to jail.
I mean, that's like go to jail immediately.
Hold on, I gotta ask you guys something, because sometimes this stuff isn't fair.
I mean, that would be 51, say 25 and a half minus 7. That's 18 and a half. He still misses by 2.
Could you imagine having to just go on a date and talk with a 16-year-old for an entire evening?
Oh, he wasn't wanting to talk to her. There's none of that going on.
Just
This is why I
creepy.
say it's not fair. All right, are you looking at these? All right, this does not look like a 16-year-old. I mean, I know that she is. She's mentally and psychologically and emotionally a 16-year-old.
That's her at 16. No
That
way.
that's her at about 17. Yeah, they were only together for 2 years, and they got
Use
married when
Courtney
she was
Stodden at
16.
16 in it.
Yeah. What's that?
Search for Courtney Stodden at 16.
Yeah. Here, all right, I'll just do this. I'll put 16. Let's pull up some wedding pictures.
I mean, I would not.
Come on, man. Look at them two. Shopping at Target. Look at how she's going to Target.
I would
Looks
not
like her
think that girl
grandmother.
was 16 if I saw her.
No,
Never.
not in a million years.
That's why I think this one's a little unfair. I mean, look, again, I know that mentally and emotionally and psychologically, he's a monster because he should have known better. But this girl does not look like a high school sophomore. Look at that. A high school sophomore? And this is a 51-year-old actor. This guy isn't even
I
a
mean, when are you
star.
allowed to get breast implants? I mean, she obviously had breast implants.
Yeah,
Right now, Emil, right now.
parents allow it. Oh my God. I mean, there's the wedding. Look at her. That's she does not look 16 there. She does.
There she looks about the youngest she's looked.
Look
Is
at this
that
one.
mom and dad next to her?
That is her mom and dad.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. I thought those crazy kids were going to work it out. You know, I can't believe they got divorced.
Well, here was their story. Look at first of all, I don't want my wife doing this.
Now they're in the red. Like that does not look like she's 16.
No, she looks 40, right?
Yeah,
No,
I would say 30s.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's their wedding night. She looks like Heather Locklear, man. She looks like
What
Heather
happened to him? Like he all of a sudden got amazingly young right there.
Yeah, he was 51 when they got married. Look at that. I mean, I totally get that it's wrong. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying. I'm saying,
Well, I mean, I would assume by that time when you're getting the marriage license, you've had to figure out she's 16.
here
But
you
she
go.
doesn't look 16 at all.
He's 51, she's 16.
Wow.
Good Lord. She's probably 17 there. She does look a little beat though, right? For a 17-year-old? I mean, what do you think was going on there?
I mean,
She's
that
getting
does not
fillers.
look 16. That
She's getting
doesn't look
fillers in her-
16.
She's getting fillers in her face. That's why she looks like a suburban soccer mom. She looks like those ladies that get fillers in their face and in their lips and under their eyes. She looks all puffed up.
So was he an actor?
He was a nobody. He is an
Ah.
absolute. Here's his deal.
You've
He
seen
was-
him in a few things.
Right. But you
that
don't know
had
his
to end
name.
his career.
It probably did, if we're assuming he had a career to begin with, and he really didn't. He pull up his Wikipedia page. It's all about him marrying a 16-year-old and almost nothing about actual acting credits. This is why he got famous. Here's how he met her. This is how it gets even creepier. So he was like a side character, like a third or fourth lead on Prison Break, which was a third-rate network TV show. It wasn't a big ratings.
It was
wasn't
filmed here.
well,
Yeah, it was filmed here.
the later stuff was because it was all filmed at the Stateville Penitentiary where my mom worked, because my mom used to watch them film on breaks.
Right, but I remember they were at the Ashton. They were filming.
Yeah, I think the later seasons when they actually broke out of Prison Break, the first couple of seasons it was in prison and they were plotting this, the escape. But then in the later years they broke out. So yeah, they probably moved down here. But here was his deal. He was like a skeevy third-rate character on a third-rate show on a third-rate. It was on Fox. It wasn't even like ABC, NBC, or CBS. It was a Fox weird-ass Monday night at 8 thing opposite Monday Night Football. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he was on Chicago Fire or Law and Order, or something that people actually watch. And what he would do to make extra money was he would go around to small towns in America and he would offer his services as a drama coach. And, because small town, what did you call it? Where did you say you were from?
Bug tussle.
In Bug Tussle, Washington, or Bug Tussle, Oregon, he would say, all right, I'll come to town. You pay me $5,000 and I'll teach acting classes for a weekend. And they would happily pay it because nobody ever comes to Bug Tussle. You know what I mean? And that's where he met her. She showed up with her mom at like one of his acting classes because he was playing off the fact that he was on this show that he's a real celebrity. Kind of like James, you ever seen Waiting for Guffman?
It's
one of the Chris Guest movies where they,
right.
okay, well, at any rate, it's a small town and they're doing this play and some big theater critic from the New York Times is supposed to be showing up, a guy by the name of Guffman. And the whole town goes nuts because they never had a celebrity in town before. And this guy was, so that's sort of what it was like with him. He would go into these towns and not a bad gig. I mean, if your career's going nowhere, if you can make like $5,000 for a weekend, they fly you in, they put you up in the finest accommodations that Bug Tussle, Oregon has. And then you're the celebrity. I mean, worst case scenario, you're hanging out at the bar on Saturday night and everybody's treating you like you're a movie star because it's Bug Tussle, Oregon. That's how he met her. And her mom basically just signed her over to him. Like he said, you're going to be a star. I'm going to take you back to Hollywood. You go, but we got to get married first. I'm too young to get married. And then mom stepped forward and was like, I'll sign the papers. And that's how we had it. That's how a 51-year-old was allowed to marry a 16-year-old. And then he turned her into like a porn star. And then she got a big Instagram following and divorced him. That's how it goes.
Wow.
These two crazy kids. I know way too much about Doug Hutchison and Courtney Stodden. All right, let's see what else.
So do you think the mom feels justified? She's like, I did the right thing. Look how rich and famous she is now. Or you think she would take that one back?
Well, what do you think? I mean, I don't know if she's rich and famous. I mean, she's probably got a little bit of money. She didn't get any money in divorce because Doug Hutchison don't have any money. So, I mean, it's just trading off influencer fame, I guess. But she's not even a huge influencer. She was just a curiosity because she married the creepy old dude from Prison Break. You know?
Does she have any money of her own now because of this?
See, now we got to look and see what Courtney Stodden is doing.
Net worth.
Yeah, let's. That's a good one. I would
because if she totally scored off of this, I mean, I'm not saying it's right,
Courtney
but that might have been mom's motivation, and she may have been feel justified.
All right, Courtney Stodden net worth. E, what do you think she's worth?
What did you say? She was turned into a porn star?
Yeah. Out of desperation, a couple of years ago, she made a porn. Just
I'd say 1 million.
James, what do you think Courtney Stodden is worth?
8 million.
And again, this is off celebrity net worth, so I don't know how accurate this is.
We know nothing.
Courtney Stodden net worth. Courtney Stodden is an American reality television personality, singer, because they're all singers too.
Aren't they? Yeah.
Singer and actress with a net worth of $500,000. $500,000. What does that mean? She's got a house in California? You know, does that count?
That means that she's not as well off as I thought.
Yeah. Stodden is best known for marrying 51-year-old actor Doug Hutchison.
Dang,
16 years old.
Man, you do one goat.
Yeah, but she's famous, and I imagine that's all she really ever cared about. And I got to believe that a girl like that, if she wants money, she could marry like Orange County's #1 Nissan dealer and live a pretty nice life, right? I mean, a girl like that, she was built to be a trophy wife, right?
Still, $500,000. I don't know if you're the mom, you got to be kicking yourself. What were you thinking?
What was she gonna have at age 24 or whatever she's at? You know?
2 kids, a trailer, and a boyfriend named Joe Bob who beats her. That's honestly what you
right. And a '99 Ford Fiesta.
What's the girl that was in the Transformers?
Megan White? No, Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
Yeah.
I think I looked up her net worth and it's at 8 million. I was shocked that it was that low.
That seems right. No, you think so? She hasn't done anything. It's not like they backed the Brinks truck up for her to do Transformers. She was unknown. They probably paid her $50,000 to do Transformers, and it went on to make $500 million.
What do you say she's worth now?
I don't know. Well, that is why we have Google. She just divorced Brian Austin Green. It's not like there was Brian Austin Green money. It's 90210.
I just was shocked. I thought she'd be worth more than 8 million.
What in
Megan
the,
Fox net worth.
what is Brian
Yeah, 8
Austin
million.
Green doing these days for
It
work?
says
Seriously.
8 million.
Yeah, 8 million.
Still.
Yeah, 8 million. 5'4" model actress. Brian Austin Green, David Silver from 90210. I
Yes,
can't
sir.
imagine he's doing better than he was with Megan Fox. And she's running around with Machine Gun Kelly. I bet he's got money because he's hot right now. And right now,
Oh
all those
yeah,
dudes are
they
getting
went
paid.
to the Grammys and he convinced her to go in like a see-through dress.
Yeah, she's a wonderful looking piece of humanity. All right, Courtney Alexis Stodden. How old do you think she is? She's only 27 now. She seems like she's been famous for 15. Well, I guess she was.
All right,
Yeah,
so I'll
yeah,
give you one in comparison: Megan Fox
Okay.
or Kelly Raspberry on Kiss FM. Who's richer?
Oh, Kelly Raspberry. Absolutely. I would think that she's got a part of that kid syndication package, so she's probably making easily $1 million for the last 20 years.
No way.
Oh yeah, easily.
Oh,
Sure.
all right. I would have guessed Megan Fox, but
Who do you think? E.
Oh, I know based on if Megan Fox is at 8 million. Kelly Raspberry, I know her what's reported as her net worth.
Well, you want to share?
You want to know? 13 million.
13 million. That seems about right because she's probably been making close to $1 million since 2000. And then when they kicked in the syndication, she got a piece of that. So she probably went up and up and up and up. Yeah, man, that's
good for her.
Good for her is right. That's syndication money. That's where it is. I mean, Stern was making like $100 million for a period of time. No, he wasn't. That was when he left. He was making $25 million a year. That's what he was. And then he left for satellite for a one-time $100 million, which would have made his 2-year initial deal worth $50, which was double what he was making on regular radio. But I'm more interested in Courtney Stodden since we've opened this can of worms. Actually, all I was interested in was how old she is now, and she's 27. So there you go. All right, good times. Okay, anything else? We still want to go through. We don't need to listen to any more of these creepy guys. Although apparently Miley Cyrus dated a lot of dudes in their late 20s when she was only 16. She's on this list twice.
Well, but using James's formula, you'd still make it.
But is the formula still applicable when the female in question is under legal age? I don't think it is. I think that changes the formula. I think your formula,
the formula
is
handles
assuming
it. The formula handles it just fine.
It does. All right. So if you're 30 dating a 15-year-old.
Well, then you're way under the formula. The formula says 22.
Okay, you need to adjust your formula because society.
No, the formula is half of your age plus 7. Okay. So if you're a 30-year-old, that would put it at 22.
Okay, so
the max like that you can get is 3 years apart. You can be 20 and 17.
Okay. All right, I see what you're doing. There's got to be one really good one though. These are all like, who cares about?
Like if you were 18, the lowest you can go is 16.
Oh, here's the one I was looking for. Okay, so this was a weird one for all us old heads out there. We remember this. Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stones and Mandy Smith. Remember this story?
I don't.
Bill Wyman is the most famous for being the bassist for the Rolling Stones, but he also had a newsworthy relationship with Mandy Smith. Now, guys, this is early 90s, okay? So, James, we started this conversation off when you were talking about Aaliyah being married to R. Kelly and about how everybody was like, oh, and I'm telling you, no, they weren't. Nobody gave a shit about this stuff. It was only after the fact. And, with the luxury of time passing that you look back and went, that was pretty messed up. Dude, in the early 90s, or maybe it was late 80s, Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stones was 47 years old, and he was dating a 13-year-old. And then married her.
Oh, God.
Bill Wyman is most famous for being the bassist in the Rolling Stones, but he also had a newsworthy relationship with Mandy Smith. At the time he was 47, she was only 13. Smith's mother believed Wyman was acting like a father figure, but the couple eventually married when Smith turned 18. However, they would divorce 2 years later. Oh my God. All right. This deserves a picture. We got to pull this one
That
up.
would have been 52 when he married 18.
Yep, that's under. That's considerably
that's under even if you minus.
Yep.
The 7.
All right, here we go. Let's look at this one. Just She's another one who doesn't exactly look like 17, 18, whatever it is. I mean, 13 when she caught Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stones, who could have anyone. She caught his eye when she was 13 years old. Ugh, so gross. Look at this. Look at this. All right, so there he is. All right, so we're looking
What
at him.
age is she there with the rainbow shirt on?
Well, he met her when she was 47. So he's got to be at least over 47. She looks like he was 47 and she was 13. It doesn't say when in their relationship this was, but
Well,
let's say
assuming
she's
they got divorced 2 years later, that's not a
So
after
20.
divorce pick, I would imagine.
right. So this is somewhere between 13 and 20. There they are on their wedding night.
That's her at 18.
That's her at 18. Let's say this one. That must be her now.
With him?
Actually, Bill Wyman says he was stupid to think his marriage to Mandy Smith would work. Well, you had to give it a try, didn't you? There's their wedding. She's
What
18.
do you talk about with an 18-year-old?
Again, she doesn't look 18 to me.
Who cares what she looks like? Could you have to like sit
Well,
across
I'm with
the table
you.
from her at a booth at a diner and conversate for like an hour?
That picture right there, that's pretty terrific. She looks pretty great. I mean, he is a member of the Rolling Stones. I guess we allow it. See, we did allow it. You know, the worst that came his way was that radio hosts made fun of it. That was it, though. There was never any like investigation.
So
there was never
the picture top row, 2 in with the guy in the gray hair.
That's Bill Wyman.
Yeah, is that
Okay.
her?
I don't know. I don't know if that's her. Let's see.
What's this lady's name?
That could be her. Her name was Mandy Smith or Mandy Wyman or Mandy Smith Wyman. I don't know.
Because it looks like if that's what happened to him in 5 years, he aged like crazy.
Yeah, she took a beating to him. I don't know who this. Well, that's Jerry Hall. So that's Mick Jagger's former wife, and there's Bill Wyman there. I don't think any of these are his Mandy lady. Bill Wyman. It wasn't lust with Mandy. It was love. Oh yeah. I guess that is them now. I guess that is what they look like.
All
now.
right. So how old is she today?
Oh, dude, I don't know. When did they get married?
51.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, she's only 51.
You looked it up?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here it is. Yeah. Let me let's see. Let's try this. Let's see. All right. That ain't bad. She looks great. She looks like she's got that Rolling Stone divorce money, right?
She looks great for a 51. Jesus,
dude. She looks. Come on, set James straight. She looks great for Freddie. That's a beautiful woman right there.
Yeah,
agreed. No, we all agree.
Well, Mandy Smith, I did sleep with Bill Wyman when I was 14. Of course, man. Nobody believes that you guys were celebrities. Rolling Stones, for crying out loud. It's a little too.
There she looks young.
Yeah, that looks like a kid on the bus coming home from school. Just how Bill Wyman likes him. Oh my God. Look at that. It comes at you fast. But I'll tell you, what a life he's had. I mean, aside from the child sex, he's had probably a lot of fun times with legal aged women.
Aside from all the silly pedophilia.
What's her? God. You know, but he must truly be a pedophile. He must, because he's Bill Wyman. He could have been with any legal age, well, not any legal age supermodel that, Mick and Keith didn't want, right? I mean, he could pretty much have his pick of the litter. He may not be Mick Jagger or Keith Richards, but he's still a member of the Rolling Stones, right? I mean,
he'd get not necessarily his pick of the litter, but he'd get one in the litter.
Right, exactly. He would get anyone that Mick and Keith didn't want. The next guy up, because we learned after Charlie Watts' death that Charlie was totally 100% faithful to the same girl he dated in high school. They stayed married the entire time, so he was out of the mix. And then
look, there's nothing wrong with getting the third hottest groupie after the concert.
Especially when the groupies are made up of all these supermodels who are hanging out backstage.
Yeah,
mean-
he did better than us.
At that point, it's just a push, right? At that point, it just comes down to personal taste. If you've got Cindy Crawford, Giselle Bundchen, and Tyra Banks, and you've got Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, and Bill Wyman, and you can't.
And Bill Wyman's going, give me the 13-year-old.
Yeah, give me the. I need to see some IDs. Yeah, but not for the reason you think.
That's
All right,
gross.
that's it. We're gonna be done. I was gonna do a big story. I had a philosophical question. Actually, more of a moral test for you guys. I watched. We'll do it on another night.
Just assume I failed.
See
Yeah.
something cool about these glasses?
Yeah, okay, sure. Why not? I bet you 13-year-olds at a bus stop would think that's really awesome, Mr.
There you
Cirillo.
go. See?
Yeah.
Cool.
I could see E with God forbid anything go haywire with his marriage. I could totally see E with a woman in her 20s.
No.
Yeah, I can see it though. I know you're.
I've already had enough go wrong. That would just make it worse.
Yeah, all right. Well,
All right.
I guess your number is somewhere. Your number is somewhere in the mid 30s.
Let's see. 20, 58, 29, 36.
36 is your cutoff. So anyone over 36 or above. And what was my number? 51, 25. We'll call it 26. 33. 33 is my cutoff. And James, your cutoff is 27.
No, my cutoff. See, I'm 44, so my cutoff would be 29.
All right, boys. Now
36, and the wife is 42, so I'm way above my cutoff.
Yeah. Oh. Wow. What was my cutoff?
We already forgot.
33.
Oh, I'm good. I was thinking with my son's mom because she was much younger than me when we started dating. But she's
you can't roll back to when you started.
No,
she moved up.
You are supposed to roll back to when you started.
But she's safe. We've got like 4 years to spare in this formula, so we're safe. We're okay. No, I don't feel quite 38. So bad. Yeah, but as someone who did marry a woman much younger, to answer your question, what do you talk about? Nothing. That is the answer. You talk about nothing. All right, we're going to take what do we call it? We'll call it a 12-hour break. We'll be back tomorrow for the high noon edition. I didn't get to tell you my philosophical question. It has to do with have either of you guys seen the 30 for 30 documentary Pony Excess about all the shit that SMU got into that got them the death penalty back in the 80s? It's really good. It's on Plex. You can just pull it up on Plex.
I would imagine Dale Hansen's in that.
All over it. Dale Hansen, Brad Sham, Cooperstein, who else? It is just wall to wall. Randy Galloway. It is wall to wall Dallas luminary.
Craig James.
Craig James all over it. Eric Dickerson all over it. Ron Meyer all over it. Everybody that was involved in that. Everybody came out and talked. And the thing that makes it so fascinating.
Was Irving Fryer part of that?
I don't think so. I don't. Maybe he was on the team, but he wasn't necessarily mentioned. But Bankston, Bankston Automobiles,
right?
That son of a bitch. I'm never buying a Bankston. That guy he's primarily the reason why they got in so much trouble. He was the booster providing everybody with Nissans.
W.O. Bankston.
He gave the recruits would show up on campus, and there was basically a showroom on campus at SMU with the players' names on it and a set of keys right there. And it's their car. So I have a philosophical question that I wanted to ask, but we'll do it tomorrow. It concerns Eric Dickerson and the way that he was recruited, in the way that Texas A&M thought they had him all locked up. And then all of a sudden he ends up going to A&M. I think that Eric Dickerson did at A&M.
He ended up going to SMU.
Yeah, what did I say?
A&M.
Yeah, he committed to A&M.
We know what you meant.
What the hell? I'll tell you anyway. We don't have to get into it. But I have a very deep philosophical take on it. But we won't do that now. So he committed. He's from Sealy, Texas, and he was the number one running back in the country. And every single team, whether A&M, UT, everybody wanted Eric Dickerson to come play for him. And he committed to A&M because his where he grew up is closest to A&M, and it seemed great. So the way that he got A&M, the way he decided on A&M on signing day and commitment day, is that A&M gave him a brand new Smokey and the Bandit Trans Am, like a really kick-ass Trans Am. And so all of a sudden, Eric Dickerson is seen driving around in this awesome looking Trans Am, and coincidentally now he's committed to A&M. And basically he ended up coming to SMU because SMU offered him, said that he could keep the Trans Am, and they gave him like a suitcase filled with money, and he didn't understand how he could keep the Trans Am, and SM was like, because A&M gave it to you illegally. Who they gonna tell? What are they gonna complain? That you made a commitment to them for a bribe and then you went back on it and kept the bribe? They can't tell anybody. So that's how SMU, and then he ended up getting a Bankston Nissan. So in addition to the gold Trans Am. But I had a question about that. We don't have time for it now, maybe for another night. It's such a fun, fascinating documentary, especially if you love Dallas, because it is just about Dallas in the 80s when this place was just humming, when everybody was walking around thinking they were J.R. Ewing, and SMU was the best team in football, and woo, were they dirty. All right, that's going to do it. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much to Sunglasses, E the Artist, Uncle E, whatever you feel like calling him, world's most interesting man. That guy over there doing the Queen Wave, that's James Parker. He comes to us live from New Orleans each and every appearance. I'm Pugs Moran. This has been Pillow Talk. Tomorrow it's high noon at noon on the Radio Misfits Network. Go Cowboys!